Well, folks, looks like this one's heading in a little bit of trouble. How's Sean gonna get himself out of this one? Stick around to the end to find out.
Never afraid, wheels on fire, heart of lead. On the edge where legends tread, checkered flag up high in sight, tearing through the dead of night. Champion born to win the fight, cross the line into the light.
Hello, fellow motor enthusiasts and fans of BS. Welcome to episode 27 of Moto BS.
Can you believe it? 27 episodes?
You know what that means?
What's that?
We've been doing this for continuously over 6 months now.
Wow.
Because 26 weeks is half a year, right?
I don't do math.
Yeah. Yeah, 52 weeks is a year, so that means we're a little over halfway through a full year.
I trust you, man.
Yeah. It's quite an accomplishment, I think.
I'm very proud of us.
Yeah.
I'm extremely proud of us, and I think it's fantastic. And it's, we're having fun.
Yeah.
We're doing it. Hopefully we've made a few fans along the way, and they like what we're doing here. And
It seems like it.
yeah.
So,
I think it's cool.
So you had quite an adventurous week yourself this last weekend, I guess, Friday and Saturday.
I did. It was a bucket list event.
Right.
Right,
Got a little
so-
inspired by cousin Brandon.
Cousin Brandon did a fantastic job putting that bug in my mind. I was like, this is something I've always wanted to do.
You're like, why not? What are you waiting on?
Back when I had, and I think I mentioned this in the last, not the last one, but previous episodes, where I used to have a Gixxer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to just spend hours on the Gixxer forums, the message boards, and reading all about track days.
Right.
And I never got around to doing it. Work came in the way, blah, blah, blah. We don't need
There's
to go
always
there.
an excuse.
There's always an excuse.
Yeah.
The tracks are far away, blah, blah, blah. So when your cousin came on and he was talking, we had him on to give us some tips on that kind of
The introductory
thing.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just getting into it for the start.
Afterwards, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, well, why don't you do it?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah. Once you sign up for it, now you're committed.
Yeah, so I signed up for a 2-day event at a Florida track here called Jennings GP. The first day was their what they call their novice school, and then the second day was an open track day.
Right.
It's open to the public, so anybody could buy a ticket and come in and ride your motorcycle. So
So it's good you got that first day in there to get a little bit of instruction. Just on the do's and don'ts, or not really teaching you how to ride, but maybe getting you.
I would, if anybody's listening and you're even half curious about this kind of stuff, I highly recommend the school,
Right.
any school.
Yeah.
And they even, the instructors, so this day was led by 3 instructors and they rotated. And they all had similar backgrounds, but they focused on different things. And they even recommended, go to multiple schools because every instructor is going to have a different background, a different skill set, and you're going to get that much more out of it. Right. So the schools aren't cheap, but they're not like so expensive that they're out of reach. But I'm really thankful that I took the school because going in cold to a public track day would have been probably a little intimidating.
Right.
Just because you're not real sure of the process, the procedures,
Getting
that
on
kind of
and off the
thing.
track and when not to pass. And all
Yeah.
that, which,
This track, and of course, it's the only track I've been to, but this track in particular, they do kind of a truncated version in the morning. So it is possible. You don't have to take the school. You can show up in the morning. You have a mandatory track, riders meeting, and they spend about a half an hour in the classroom and they go through procedures. What do all the flags mean? How do you enter the track properly? How do you exit the track properly? All of these different things, which, are all safety related. So they take it very seriously.
right.
So like I said, it's a 30-minute course, crash course on how to do it. So you can do it.
Right.
There were a couple of guys that showed up. It was their first time at the track, at any track. It was their first track day, and they didn't do the school. And they did kind of feel, I could tell the look on their face. They kind of were like, what's going on here?
Right.
Because they throw a lot of info at you.
Yeah.
And you need to remember it because it's safety related, like I said. So it's important to keep all these things in mind.
So I'm assuming they do an inspection of your bike to make sure you've got all your glass taped off. And
They do. Now, I do have to say that at Jennings, so using their words, not mine, they call Jennings an educational track. Okay. So there's a lot of schools that go on there. They even have pros that come in the spring, they say, that use it as a practice track. So it's a great place to learn and refine your riding, as opposed to going to like a place like somewhere where they actually host big time motorcycle racing.
right, like Atlanta.
Like Atlanta Motor Speedway, and places like that, Coda, and out in Austin, Texas, that kind of stuff, right? What a words really can't. I struggle to put it into words what it meant to me to be there. I may have mentioned this in previous episodes, but you may recall that I'm a big race fan.
Right.
I've been watching racing of all types my whole life, and my sister and I used to go to IndyCar races all the time. Every year we went to at least 2 a year. We would do Cleveland and Nazareth, and we would get pit and paddock passes, which let you down right next to the cars and all this kind of stuff. So that environment, like I knew the environment, but this scenario, being somebody that's on the track, was just like a whole different.
Yeah, you feel like you're the singer on stage, you're the football player in this, on the field. Like you get that whole
participant. I'm involved. I'm actually on here doing it. So I knew the environment from the track. I loved going to races, and I watch racing every weekend, motorcycle and car. So it was a really exciting environment to be in, right? Just to be there, to go through the riders' meetings, and the first session when they take you out on the track, it was just like, it was almost overwhelming to me to a certain degree, right? It was definitely, like I said, it was like a bucket list thing, and I kept kicking myself. Why did you wait so long?
Yeah.
Why did you wait so long? Let me jump back a little bit, though.
Sure.
Okay. So there was a lot to this in terms of preparing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, how long did it take you to prep your bike here? Because I know, like, you couldn't go riding a few weeks ago because you're like, oh, I've got all the things were taken, all the blinkers were taken off. You got the tape on the over the headlight, and I know she got some color matching tape.
I did special order some yellow tape just because everybody does the blue painter's tape, right?
Yeah.
And I have a yellow stripe on my bike, so I thought the yellow. And sometimes you can see those old retro bikes will have like a yellow tinted glass. So I thought the yellow would work.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know you sent that picture of you riding on the track, and that was the first thing I noticed.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. Amazon, you can get anything, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I was like, I'll get some yellow painter's tape.
So how long was the prep? How long did it take you to get the bike ready? And I also noticed you rented a vehicle to drive it over there.
Yeah.
You had to rent a van.
Yep.
And
so there's a lot to it, more than I originally thought.
Yeah.
I didn't put a whole lot of thought. I just went on there and
signed up, and then you're
signed
like,
up.
Now what do
like,
I got to do?
Oh shoot! Now I got to figure this out. So me being, I'm a project manager by profession. So I use my project management tools, and I created a project plan.
Right.
And I shared it with my sister because my wife couldn't make it. She had a business trip. My sister said, "Oh, I'll come with you. It'll be cool. It'll be like old times
Yeah, I
when we used
wonder,
to go
like,
racing."
who's taking these videos?
And so my sister came with me. We had a great time. And so I shared that project plan with her, and she would add things in, because when we started thinking about it, I was like, well, wait, this track is out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
You got to bring your food. You got to bring your drinks.
Gotta have a cooler. Gotta have ice.
Cooler, ice, all this stuff to carry it. Then it's like, well, you also have to bring maintenance things for your bike. I have to bring my toolbox. What do I need to? What if I need to take my tires off? I need to bring my torque wrench. So all of these different things I start having to
Your jack
list
stand,
off.
all the stuff. Yeah.
My paddock stand, front and back. Flashlights, extra fuses, just anything I could think of.
Yeah, because that'd be the worst if you got out there and you lost a fuse or whatever, and you couldn't ride over something that cost 50 cents.
So we're making all this list and everything. I'm doing all this prep. I used an app to answer your question. The prep on the bike took me a little longer because I may have mentioned this again. I know I sound like a broken record when I say that, but I have a horrible memory, so I can't remember what I said and what I did. But my bike, Triumph, has clip-on risers for the Thruxton.
Right.
So that gives you, stands you up, sits you up a little bit more. It's more comfort. And that's what I usually ride with.
Right.
But I also have the lower clip-ons, which are really aggressive sport bike low clip-ons. So I was like, well, I'm going to the track with my low clip-ons on. Well, that takes about an hour and a half for me to swap out.
Did you have to take all of everything off, the clutch handles and all that stuff?
You got to take everything off the bars, and you got to drop your forks down through the head. Yeah. So yeah, all of that and dropping it down and putting it back, putting the clip-ons on and putting it back in.
Yeah,
it's all just
reassembling everything, make sure all your cables are straight and all that.
It's just all that. It takes time, but not super long. I've done it in under an hour before.
Yeah, well, now that you've got practice.
Yeah. Taping off everything, of course, just takes a couple of minutes. And I changed the oil, checked all the fluids, everything's cool. So it didn't take too long,
right,
to be honest with you, right? Making the list, I think, took longer. And so then I'm thinking, okay, well, we got our food list. We need something to sit on. We got to bring some chairs. Yeah. Everybody, if you've ever seen track days, they sit under canopies. So we get your canopy out. The easy up canopies. So you just start thinking, oh, my sister's like, well, we should bring a card table because you're gonna want some place to put stuff.
Right.
It's like that's a great idea. So card table. Next thing you know, we've got a list, 100 items long. I use this app called Turo, Turo.
That's the rental app.
That's
the one I used when I went to Alaska.
Alaska for the Jeep.
Yeah.
Yep. I used that because of you, because you use that. And I was a little timid because...
because what happened to me, yeah, that's when you're running a person's vehicle, like you never know. I had some maintenance issues with the one I had. The AC didn't work right, and it overheated and stuff, which caused a whole other snowball. But anyway, apparently maybe you had better luck than me.
It all worked out. I didn't even meet the owner when I got to the thing.
He just left me the key and told me where it was, and I went and picked the car up.
It couldn't be easier.
Yeah.
It's like, keys in it. Have fun. It's like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, then you drop it back off, take a picture of it. Like that's what you told me. Like the app recommends you take pictures of all, in case there's any dents or anything that. So I videoed the entire car, like when I picked it up, and then when I dropped it off, same thing. Videoed the entire thing to make sure nothing new.
Yeah. Yeah. The app walked me through when it did check out. It walked you through that wizard. Like, okay, now it's time to take pictures.
Take a picture of the front. Take a picture of the side. Yeah.
But it was very easy and more affordable than the rental cars.
For sure. Like I said, I got a fully loaded Jeep with everything you could think of on it, and it was like half of what a rental car, like a little beater would cost.
Yeah. So I was happy with it, but then I had to have a way to get my motorcycle into the van,
right? And
I wanted a van because it was nice and enclosed, and it could throw all the other stuff in there. I was thinking about pickup trucks and all this kind of stuff, or trailers,
right?
But I picked the van. I'm glad I did. It worked out right. Vans are typically a little lower than like a pickup truck. Mm-hmm. I bought an aluminum motorcycle ramp from Cycle Gear. Pushed that sucker up in there, strapped it down, rode like a dream, packed everything in there, and we took off. We took off on Thursday and got up there, had horrible traffic. It took us like 5 hours to get up there. Should only take us 3. So we get up there and we go to the track. They said in the instructions, you can come the night before because if you're camping, you can come and set up your camp. Right. So let's go check out the track. And it was like right at sundown when we got in there. So we get in there and there was nobody there, like ghost town. And we park and this one fella comes out and he says hi. He worked there, His name's Bob. Shout out to Bob. Everybody at Jennings knows Bob. He's the guy to go to. And I said, yeah, we're here for the school tomorrow and track day on Saturday. And he said, yeah, you can leave your bike here if you want. Unload it. That way you don't have to do it in the morning. And I was like, he's like, yeah, I'll lock the gate at night, so it's cool.
All right.
So we unloaded the bike.
Yeah.
I didn't have a cover, but I covered it with some towels just so that we didn't get the dew on it.
Yeah.
Parked it there and went to the hotel, which was like 5 minutes away. So we get there the next morning, okay? You have to register, you sign all your paperwork, and we go into class. And we start the class, and the class runs about.
Did your sister go through the class?
No. She was outside. She came along to be my photographer and my videographer.
Right.
Okay. And my pit crew. Okay. So she's out there getting all the cameras set up. She got my GoPro set out. She used my DLSR, DSLR.
Right.
And so I'm in the classroom. It was about a 40-minute class in the morning. And they said, okay, well, we're going to go do follow the leader. So everybody go. We're going to give you about 10 minutes to get geared up, and we'll see you out there. So we go out there, get your tracksuit on, get your helmet, get all geared up, warm the bike up for a minute. Okay. So I go ahead, turn my key on, hit the start. Nothing happens.
Oh, my God.
Brian, I can't tell you the feeling that my heart, my stomach, it was just like, it was just pure devastation, man.
Yeah.
Pure devastation. And I hit it again. And where I had the straps in the van was up on the clip-ons. And I was thinking to myself, well, some kind of vibration or something in the trip must have messed with the electronics, some kind of connection somewhere. So I'm looking all around. I'm trying to figure out what happened.
Right.
It's just a dead battery's good. All that you
so
can
when
hear.
you turn the handle, it lights up.
The dash lights up. You can hear the fuel pump kick on. Everything's working normally.
Did you not have it neutral or?
No, neutral.
Okay.
Kickstand's up. Everything's cool. It's on the paddock stand, so the kickstand was up. Clutch is in because it's a Triumph.
Yeah.
And nothing. The start button is dead. I took my hat and I threw it on the ground. I didn't even, I did it unconsciously. I didn't even realize I did it. I was so.
You're like a coach in the SEC. Dag nabbit.
I was so devastated. I thought that was the end.
Yeah.
I thought it ended before it even started, my friend. I'm telling you, it was just soul crushing. I took a deep breath and I said, there has to be something logical on why this isn't starting. I said, what did you do? What's changed? You got power, nothing. Everything looks fine. And then it dawned on me. And I said, you're an idiot. Not you, but me.
Yeah.
I said to myself, you're an idiot. I had been on the message boards reading about track days and everybody's giving all these tips and everything, right? Mm-hmm. So they said, one good tip is to pull the fuse for your headlight before you go to a track day, because that way your painter's tape doesn't melt to the headlight and it's easier to peel off at the end of the day.
You pulled the wrong one? Or
no.
They're just on the same.
Triumph needs that complete circuit. So it checks all of those fuses. If one's out, it won't let you start it.
Oh my God.
Luckily, in my toolbox that I made that long list, I had extra fuses, put it right in, boom, fired right up.
Oh my God.
Disaster
averted. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was just like, I was like, please let that be the last drama of the weekend. So
that's when we were going to Spain. Well, we were supposed to fly to Portugal, and then like the guy went to swipe the ticket and it went That was the feeling I had. I'm like, I have all these plans. I've got rental. And he looks at it and he goes, what's this? This isn't on a boarding pass. And I'm like, that was a feeling I had. I go, oh my God, everything I just planned is gone.
You just get that whoom, whoom,
And
whoom.
I literally was doing like you said. I was just grabbing my head, and my kids were like, "It's okay," and I'm like, "You don't understand, like all these plans that I've made, 2 weeks of plans are coming up, and they're all in the garbage. You won't let us on the plane, you know." And it all worked out, you know. So
Did you just hold?
no,
have the wrong document, or?
So what happened? It's a long story that irrelevant to this
Right.
your story, but
Okay.
basically what happened was I signed in at the kiosk because the lady downstairs told me to, and when you're going international, you have to have somebody check your passport, and that didn't happen. So the thing I had was, even though it looked like a boarding pass, it wasn't really a boarding pass. They was, I guess, supposed to take it to somebody else where they would exchange it for one. So basically, he let the people that were in standby take our seats. So we missed that flight, which was the connection flight to take us to Portugal. So we didn't get to go to Portugal at all, but he was able to rearrange our flights, and we went directly to Madrid. So it all worked out. But at the time, I was like in a complete panic. So, because like I said, I had a room. He's like, "Well, you're not going to make it today," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, I have a non-refundable room, and I've got a non-refundable car, and like,
Right,
all these
right.
things. Yeah. So, but anyway, that was when you were telling the story. I was just thinking about, that was the feeling I had when I had all these plans, and then they were just immediately
It
dashed.
just vanished, just stashed.
Yeah.
So luckily that was a quick fix, and I was right back out at, and we get out on the track and that sort of thing. So we had a full day of what they did was they alternated. So we did 20-minute sessions on the track.
Right.
And
That's a long time, though.
20 minutes, I think, was a long time.
It is. Yeah, like you go, oh, it's only 20 minutes, but 20 minutes on the highway is no big deal. But 20 minutes on the track, when you're focused and you're intense and you're leaning over and you're,
Well, it's interesting you mention that, because since that, event, I've been thinking it over. Actually, I can't think about anything else.
Yeah.
It's just because I even went to sleep that first night. I was dreaming about the track, because it's so imprinted in your brain, because all day you've got this mental focus of your line,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And not dying,
yeah.
which I'll get to in a minute.
Yeah, no, I know that story. I'm waiting. Yeah.
So there's a lot of mental focus and a lot of physical exertion.
Right.
I was drenched in. It was a cool day. It was that Friday,
Right.
Right, and we're 3 hours north of here, so I think the high of that day was like 75.
So that's not bad, even though you're wearing a full leather suit.
Right.
Yeah.
And after each session, I was drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of exertion. So we're doing 20 minutes on track, and that track is 2 miles exact. So when you think about this, when you're doing 100% of your ability,
Right.
okay, 2 miles, 14 corners, what are you doing? Like, I would think you do at least 10 laps.
Yeah, I was going to
15
say, what
laps.
was your average lap like that first day?
They weren't measuring lap speeds,
Yeah.
per se.
But I mean, you must have an idea, like each lap took you 3 minutes or 4 minutes or...
I would think a minute and a half.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was going to say, well, if it's 2 miles and you're maintaining at least 60 miles an hour, that's 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you had a 20-minute, you got at least 10 laps.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was enough.
No,
So-
it's enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So then,
It's like anything even if you're just playing laser tag with your kids, and you think, oh, this round's only 5 minutes or whatever. After like 4 minutes of it, you're hyper focused on shooting little kids and not getting shot. Like that drains you.
It does.
And you're just like, oh, I'm glad this session's over.
exactly.
You get that time to rest.
Yep.
And I imagine like that's much more physical, obviously, being on a bike.
Well, let me tell you this a little bit, Brian. I wrote down on my phone some questions going into this event, some expectations, right?
Right.
And one of them was, what would I experience in terms of the overall activity? Okay, because let me maybe you'll get a better idea, and our audience will get a better idea when I say that the first session when they took us out was follow the leader.
Right.
So they put an instructor in front of us, and we all followed like little ducks, 40 miles an hour around the track. this is fun. I mean, you could wave it. Hey, look at me. I'm on a racetrack. Literally 40. He said, we're going to do 40 miles an hour all around. You didn't need to use your brakes at all.
Right.
You know, nothing's that, no corners are that tight where you have to use the brakes. So it was just a little cruise around. Okay. Then we went back in, and we did that for 20 minutes. Went back in, had a classroom session. Went back out. And this time what they did was you follow the leader, but then you rotate each rider to the back after each lap. So he would give a signal to rotate. The person behind him would fall all the way to the back. And then you keep doing that until the first person is back up behind him again, right? And he, being the instructor, kept increasing the speed of each lap. Mm-hmm. And the purpose of this was not only to get used to the speed, but also following his line. So he wanted you to follow directly because he's going to show you the line to take, which was kind of one of the themes of the day, was learning the line. So that took us, that was the second session, writing session. Went back in for another classroom. The third session, and now this is only like 10 o'clock in the morning. The third session, we get out there. They say, oh, it's an open session. We'll be out riding, but you don't have to follow us. Everybody gets out there and you're going as fast as you can. So you're going pretty drastically from a pretty, casual pace behind the instructor to, oh my gosh, I'm doing 120 on the straight.
Right.
This is pretty wild.
Yeah.
And then you get used to that. And we kept alternating that. And every time you go back in the classroom, the conversation was all about how to go faster. Because keep in mind, you're on a racetrack.
Right.
The purpose here is to ride as fast as your skill set can allow you to do.
Right.
Hopefully within the confines of safety.
Yeah.
Right.
That's, I think, one of my fears about doing it is I'm competitive. So, like if you were going faster than me all day, I would be trying to push my limit. You know what I mean?
And that's why the instructors did a great job. And I think that's why they have 3 of them too, because that allows them to really split the class up and focus on the riders.
Right.
And also they reiterated a lot. Don't be stupid. Don't ride over your skill level. Leave your ego at home.
Right.
And you'll probably be okay.
Right.
And get those expectations back to realistic. Like everybody thinks they're great.
Well, I don't think I'm great. That's the thing. I know my limits. You know what I mean? I think I'm right in the middle. I'm an average rider, especially for that kind of riding,
And you just have to kind of know that, hey, you have to know your limits and know that this is a learning thing. So I really had to tell myself that throughout the day was you're not Marc Marquez. To go back to my previous comment about I didn't know what to really expect.
Right.
What was this going to be? It's called novice school. To me, that word novice kind of, denotes beginner.
Right.
It's, it's going to be casual. It's, hey, we're out here just, learning the ropes a little bit. I had no idea that at the third session, they would just
let you go.
Let us go.
Right.
But then you keep in mind that there's no limitation on novice classes.
So, I mean, do you talk to the other riders? Were people there multiple novice? Had they come to multiple times as a novice?
No. Everybody in this class was brand new.
Okay. I guess in a way that's good.
Yeah.
It's an equalizer.
And
so you don't have some guy that is really intermediate out there,
Now let me qualify that statement by saying I'm still talking about the first day.
Yeah, not the Saturday thing.
Not the Saturday thing.
Yeah, no, Saturday's going to be a different animal.
That's going to be a different thing.
That's going to be open.
Right. And I found out on Saturday there are very fast people that do like the novice class. So that's where I'm going at is novice doesn't mean slow.
Right.
Novice means the track applies rules that the other classes don't have per se.
Right.
Okay. Such as at Jennings, and I'm sure every track is a little different, but at Jennings, novice class, you can't pass on the inside of a corner.
Right.
Also, they have two corners, two high-speed kinks on the track that are no passing period. I don't know if they're allowed to on the intermediate and advanced. I think that's a track rule. No passing on these two corners because they're so high speed. And there's a narrow line that you have to hit because you're going so fast.
Right.
There's no way that you can pass on those. So we get out there in that third session where they opened it up to us in the school. On the second lap, one of my classmates has an off-track excursion, lays it down,
Yeah.
bike goes rolling. Brand new, well, it was about a 1-year-old Triumph 1200 RR.
That's a really pretty one, right?
That's the pretty one with the round headlight. It's like the futuristic version of mine.
Yeah.
And he had brought his son with him who was also riding.
Right.
I think his son had like a R6, something like that, right? But he was okay. He did complain that his elbow was hurting a little bit. But we get back to the bikes and we're back in the paddock area and everything. He brings his truck and trailer over. They load their bikes up and split. That was it.
Yeah, they both left, huh?
We're done.
And that was their first time. So it spooked them, or
I don't know. I didn't talk to him, but he called it quits. That was it.
Yeah.
But afterwards I was thinking to myself, it's a lot faster and a lot more intimidating than I expected.
right.
Right out of the gate, aside from following the leader a little bit. So that was red flag number one. Mm-hmm. Okay. Go to the classroom, come back out.
So do you low side it, or
I didn't
did you just
see
run
it.
off the track? Did you just go wide?
I didn't see it. Maybe if he's watching, because I passed out stickers and talked to everybody, maybe he'll comment on the video and tell us what happened.
I wonder, like, if he just went wide and lost it in the gravel. Is it gravel in the infield or
It's grass. Yeah.
grass?
Yeah.
Okay.
So his bike didn't look that bad. Some broken plastic and some scratched up plastic and stuff, but I'm not really sure. I know it happened down in turn 1, which is coming out of the front straight. So you're going at a pretty good clip. And I personally, it took half a day before I really knew how to take that corner.
Yeah.
And I had to have the instructors help me with it because I kept washing out. And, well, I'm jumping the gun there a little bit.
Well, I mean, when I told you that story last week about the Angels Crest Highway, like, you got to think when you're on those canyon roads, like, and you've never ridden them before, sometimes you go around that corner, you don't know, like, is the corner going to keep going? Is it going to straighten out? Like, and if you lose your focus, so, like, at least, like you said, at the track, you're getting to know these corners, and every time you go around, you get a little more confident, lean a little bit more, take that line a little deeper.
Repetitive.
Yeah, you wait a little later to brake.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the instructors would even tell you, because we did so much alternating, classroom track. They would tell you, this time when you go out, pick something to work on, right? Whether it's body position, because they would coach you in body position. Maybe you have a corner that's really bugging you. So pick that corner and tell yourself, I'm working on this corner. Right. Don't go 100% the whole way around.
Yeah.
So that you're losing focus. Just do 100% on that one corner that's bugging you and get that line right. So we had another session. Guy goes off track. Okay, this is still before lunch.
Right.
So there's 2 red flags. This is novice school. So we get back into the classroom and the instructors are like holding their head. And they said, 3 is the track record, is the school record.
Yeah.
3 red flags in one day is the record. Let's not have 3. Let's not tie the record today, people. This was before lunch. So we have lunch. And by this time, I have to tell you, Brian, I was on cloud 9. I was getting faster and faster. My confidence was going up. I was just having a blast. I felt great. The air was great.
Are these the tires that you have on your bike normally, or did you?
So these are only about a year old Pirelli Rosso 3s.
Yeah, so are they made for that kind of...
Yeah, they're a good track tire.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. They do, if when I do it again, I think I'm going to go for a little bit of a stickier tire.
Right.
Probably the Corsa 4s. But yeah, the ones I have are good tires.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, like if I did it, like, well, I need new tires anyway, but I tend to lean more towards the touring tires because I want them to last. You know,
Right.
Versus, I have no idea what the tire he put on there in Salt Lake City. I don't know. It was the only one he had that fit my bike. So whatever it is, it is. I don't, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. Let's make a mental note there.
Okay. So,
I'm just flying.
Right.
And I've gotten to the point where my confidence is so high that I was pushing every lap, meaning trying to go faster and faster. Pushing. I can go faster, leaning harder. I want my knee down. I'm just constantly everywhere I was having a fantastic time. One thing that the instructors tell you is that this is not a race. We're not out here racing, okay? Mm-hmm. So passing people is not the goal.
Right.
So when I say I'm passing people, I'm not saying that as a brag.
No, they're just taking it easier and
for whatever reason. Maybe that's as fast as they can go, or maybe they're just taking it easy. I don't know.
Right.
But I'm passing people, okay? Slower traffic.
Right.
Consistently, right? And one thing that they teach you in that school is, because it's not a race, if you get bottled up behind traffic and they don't want you to pass on the inside of corners, so you can only pass on the outside, which anybody who knows racing knows the outside's the longest way around a corner. Right? So you better be going a heck of a lot faster. But you also have to have confidence that the person you're passing
it's not going to go wide.
is not going to go wide. And here's what they're saying also is that because we're newbies, one thing a newbie does is when somebody passes them, they're not used to it.
Yeah.
First thing they do when they get that motion in their peripheral is they look at it.
Right.
If you look away from what you're doing on the racetrack, you're going to naturally want to drift to where you are looking. And so they warn you, like, look, if you want to pass somebody on that side, you run the risk of you don't know the skilled person, the person you're passing.
Right.
They might look at you, it might spook them, bam. You both are, on the ground. So I was very careful. Matter of fact, I was so careful that there were times I was behind slower traffic and I would follow him half a lap until I just was absolutely sure I could get him on a straight or get him on a wide enough big sweeping corner that it was probably going to be okay, right? So where I'm going with this is I'm out there and I'm Mark Marquez. I'm just flying, man. And it was so cool because I would have the track all to myself, nobody in front of me. And then all of a sudden, some riders would start to come into focus and I'd start to just catch up to them after like a half a lap. I found myself behind two riders. One was the instructor who was leading a classmate, right? But they were going really slow. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pass both of them on the front straight. One good thing about the Thruxton with all that torque is it's capable of these speed spurts.
Right.
Okay. So when you come out of a corner, you just nail it. Bam, you're passed. It's not like the smaller displacement bikes where you have to have all that momentum and you're holding it wide open. You're passing people at the end of straights. The Thruxton can pass them coming out of a corner. So I passed both of them. I'm doing over 100 at the start finish line and I absolutely missed my braking points, grabbed a bunch of brake, didn't do what they said, and I looked completely straight forward because all I saw was the grass in front of me. And I went off the track I watched the film back because I had my GoPro.
Yeah.
I went off the track at 50 miles an hour. So I was able to break from 100 to 50.
Right.
And I'm at a lean and I'm going, and I go off into the grass. Well, they told you in class, if you go off in the grass, whatever you do, don't grab the front brake because you'll end up on the ground. Even with ABS, you'll end up on the ground. Don't smash on your rear brake because you'll start to fishtail and you'll end up on the ground. So I kept thinking about that. I was like, I don't want to lay my bike over. I was just like, crap. It was like riding on ice.
Yeah.
And so they tell you what you do is you slowly pump the rear brake, just up and down, slowly up and down. So I did that and it wasn't stopping. And I just kept heading towards this. They have what they call the berm.
Yeah.
And it's this big, it's like a 12-foot pile of dirt that helps keep sound in and people from going way off. Well, they also say that's like a ramp. And I was just heading straight for this. And there have been cases where people have gone over the berm.
Right.
And finally, about 20 feet before the berm, it slowed down enough where I was comfortable turning it. And I start turning the bike, and I see the one guy that I passed had followed me
Oh my God.
right into the grass because he got target fixation.
Yeah.
And I went off, he was watching me, and he went right off. You know how they always say, look where you want to go on a motorcycle?
Yeah.
Look through the corners, right? So you don't watch in front of you, you watch
Where you want to go.
where you want to go.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more true on a racetrack. And distractions, they told you, don't look at your speedometer, don't look at your gear selector, don't look at your speed. Look at where you want to go. And that, I got to be honest with you, Brian, I'm okay being a little humble here. That woke me up. I was like, okay, just like they were saying in the classroom, you were riding over your skill set.
Right.
You didn't do what they said to do in order to make that corner. What they told me to do, he kept using his fingers. He would use his fingers and turn his head. I should have turned my head towards the corner when I knew I was washing out, leaned it, turned my head, and given it throttle. I probably would have made it. But instead, I stood the bike up.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
And looked straight ahead, and I went right off the road.
On that mountain road, I did the exact same thing. I started looking ahead at the freaking wall, and next thing you know, I'm like, holy shit, I'm going really fast, and I'm heading right for the wall. And like you said, if I had just turned my head and started leaning, I probably could have made the turn, but instead I'm like, I got plenty of brake. I'm just going to slow down to like 10 miles an hour, then just limped around the corner.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I'm out there by myself in the middle of nowhere. I don't want to lay the bike down, especially if I try to take that corner. So
Right.
Yeah, but I know exactly what you're talking about. That's
Yeah.
exactly what. And then I was same thing. I'm like, why am I going so fast? I'm not racing anybody out here. It's just me. I'm just here for the scenery.
Yeah.
I mean, it is fun, so I'm not going to like go 10 miles an hour, but also I don't need to go 80 miles an hour on these curves.
Right.
I could go.
You
40.
brought it down.
Yeah, I brought it
You
down,
brought it down
to where I'm still having fun, but also I'm not risking my life to So that's a good lesson, really.
And you did exactly what the instructor said in classroom. He on the whiteboard, he made a line.
Yeah.
And he drew a circle up and around, 3/4 of the way. He said, this is where logic in your brain is telling you self-preservation.
Right.
He goes, above this, that's the stupid zone. Don't think in the stupid zone when you're out there on the track.
Right.
Think
And that's
here.
why anytime like if some guy in a Porsche came up behind me, I just pulled right over and let him go by. Like, because in your mind, he's like, well, I'll go fast enough where he's happy. But then you're like, well, why am I pushing he's got four wheels, I don't. Why am I pushing myself? Just let him go by. Who cares?
Yeah.
He's having his day. I'll have my day.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to, that was a wake up call for me. I had to, tell myself.
I got behind a guy. I think he was in a Mercedes or something. And I rode behind him for like, I don't know, 30 minutes. And I didn't mind at all, even though I felt like he was going a little slower than I probably wanted to go. But then also I was like, it's perfect because he's keeping me from going too fast. You know what I mean? Like I was still having fun. He was going pretty fast. He was out there having fun, but then I just followed him around all the corners, and also it helps to have somebody ahead of you where you can see where the corners are going, right?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
So especially like on the
Just
track, on the track, you could see on the mountain. All you're looking at is a rock wall, and you're like, I don't know what's around that corner. You know?
As long as you can trust that they
that they're
can navigate it.
Exactly.
Because you don't want to do what my friend Sam at the track did, and follow me off into the grass. So, long story short, you know, I brought it down a little bit, and I started to do what the instructor said in terms of practicing different things. So I was practicing body positioning, smoothness, the lines. They were even giving tips on like. So what they did was after lunch they put us in a trailer that was towed behind a pickup truck, and it's the same trailer that they pick up crashed motorcycles in. So we all jump into the trailer, and my sister came with us.
Oh, nice.
And they take us around the track, and they would stop at a corner. Okay, they stop at each corner, and the pro, his name was Steve, fantastic and super fast dude.
Yeah.
He was out there on a Ninja 400, a track prepped Ninja 400.
Right.
And he was going as fast as he could. And what we did is we watched his line. And they said, listen to where his throttle is, listen to his gear selection, watch his line go through there. And so we did that at each corner, which was really cool to watch how, how he navigated that. And he did it each corner twice. One, the line was for big bikes like mine, and one was for small bikes like a Ninja 400.
Right.
A couple of guys had the KTM 390s out there.
Yeah, like a is it a Duke?
Yeah, the Duke 390.
Yeah. I heard those are fun track bikes. Yeah.
One guy he just got it this summer. By the end of the day, he was flying.
Yeah.
Flying.
Because they're super light and nimble.
Super nimble.
Yeah.
The only thing is it's a little different style of racing because, like I mentioned,
you got to keep your momentum going.
You got to keep the momentum
because you don't have
up.
that power to
power out of the corner.
Yeah. Which is like what I do because I don't, so I'm taking the corners easy, but I know my bike has got so much power and torque coming out of the corner. I just, yeah.
So then we're doing another couple of sessions and red flag comes out. So when a red flag comes out, it doesn't mean anything else other than somebody went off. There's an accident. That was the third one.
Right.
So we tied the track record for red flags in a school. And
so you didn't get a red flag when you went off?
No, surprisingly not. I guess because we kept it going and we just came back on the course. I'm gonna jump a little bit here because I do want to mention before we run out of time that everybody there was super cool. Now, of course, these were all new people and we're all just learning and everything like that. But the track people were cool. The instructors, everybody was chill. There were no attitudes. And you could bring any kind of bike you wanted. The one guy had an MT10. There was one guy on a Panigale.
Yeah.
So, the 390 Duke. So there was big bikes, light bikes, all this kind of stuff. The next day at the track day, the open track day, so that was 14 of us at school day, which gave you a lot of opportunity to spread out on the track.
So how many? So there's a 14 at a time when you're doing sessions? Okay.
Yep. So everybody went out, but you spread out pretty quick because everybody has different.
Exactly.
And the instructor would tell you too. He said, "Hey, if you get stuck behind slow traffic and you can't pass them on the outside, just come into the hot pit. It's what they call a hot pit lane. You can come down that, stop at the stop sign, wait for them to go around halfway around the track, then come back out.
Right.
Get away from them.
That's a technique you do on the tail of the dragon when you get behind a guy in a station wagon and won't pull over.
Yeah, just let him go for a while.
Stop and let him. count to 20 and then go again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get away from them. So
then
the next day,
Saturday
was a completely different animal. So now there were 80-ish bikes there
yeah
racing, or I shouldn't say racing, riding in 3 different groups: advanced, intermediate,
over
and
25
novice.
per session then.
Yeah. It was a little bit, well, there was only 8 in advanced. So the majority were in intermediate and novice.
Okay.
And one thing I quickly learned was
So is there 30 bikes at a time on the track?
in intermediate that day there was.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So you were an intermediate then?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right. So then you were
I stayed in novice all
okay,
day.
okay.
And here's what I learned by that is because the fella that set up beside me on the right brought a track bike, and he had leathers that looked like they've been, through the racing, and you could just tell he had a big rolling toolbox, and he had slick tires that were set out there and multiple rims, and this dude was like, you could tell
That's his hobby.
this is an experienced fella, right?
Yeah.
So of course I start up a conversation, give him a Moto BS sticker and all this kind. Super nice guy, Kevin. It was really nice to meet you, and I hope you are watching this.
Welcome, Kevin.
Turns out he's a mechanic for a pro racer, and he does this as a hobby, of course.
Right.
But he's also done racing series in the past. He's our age.
Yeah.
That was another thing
So,
that
young
surprised
guy.
me, Brian.
Young guy.
Young guy like us.
Yeah.
There were a lot of young guys like us there.
Yeah.
Which was pleasantly, it was a nice thing to see. I've thought, it's going to be all 22-year-old guys that.
Yeah. It's also like there's a balance too, because you have to be able to afford to go to a track day.
Ain't cheap.
Yeah. No, when I was 22, I probably couldn't have afforded to go to a track day. So, yeah.
So I was happy that there were some guys our age there, but everybody was super friendly. So I made friends with Kevin, and he gave me a lot of great tips on, this and that, throttle smoothness. Because I was complaining that my bike felt a little, not jittery, but it felt like I was sliding a little bit in the corners. I was losing confidence in my tires. I played around with air pressures a little bit, a couple of pounds here in, a couple of pounds out, which did make a difference,
Right.
but I was still feeling that. And Kevin told me, he's like, it's the wind. It's a windy day. What you're feeling out there is the buffeting. And he said that buffeting is going to make it feel like your bike's sliding around, but it's really not.
Yeah.
So that's what you're feeling. So just be smooth on the throttle. Everybody, all these guys out there just are a wealth of information, and they're all willing to help. It was an amazing community of riders out there. I expected to go in there with guys that were just full of ego and testosterone,
Right.
and it was the exact opposite.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah. My sister and I walked up and down the paddock passing out stickers for everybody, and everybody was so cool and willing to talk and talk about their bikes and what they were doing.
So you did send us a video from your helmet cam of somebody that was breaking the rules. You want to talk about that?
So that really affected me. Yeah.
No, it looked pretty gnarly.
Yeah. So we're on the track day, the open track day. I'm out there. The weather's awesome again. I'm feeling good. I'm pushing it. There's faster riders out there this day now because the group is bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was going with Kevin, was that Kevin was riding novice group.
Yeah.
So with his experience and everything, so what he was doing a shakedown of his bike because he made some modifications to it.
Right.
And he just didn't want
You don't want that competition, not really,
Right.
but
having to worry about everybody,
passing him all the time and all that. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was like, hey, I'll do novice group, and
Honestly, yeah, it's kind of like when you go into a video game and you pick the lower level and you're more experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have that advantage then. Yeah.
but you can still go fast. They don't limit you.
Right.
They're not limiting the bike. They're not limiting your skill set. Oh no, you're too good for these beginners. No, it's not like that. It's you can still go out there and go as fast as you want to go.
Right.
He says, you can't pass on the inside.
Yeah.
So we're out there, and I catch up to 2 riders. And again, kind of like what happened at the school, I was very patient because now I've got 2 riders that are wheel to wheel.
Yeah.
So you're not just passing one. Now I've got 2 riders, and I was thinking to myself, well, and they were going considerably slower than me. So they were really, I have the video from my GoPro, and you can see the cornering speed because I went back, I analyzed everything. And, the same corner that I was typically doing at 70 miles an hour,
Right.
now I was doing at 60 behind them.
Right.
So a full 10 miles an hour slower. I was like, should I come into the pits and just let them go? But there was a lot of people on the track. So I was like, well, maybe I don't want to do that. So I'll just find a spot to pick them off, right? All of a sudden, out of my peripheral, we're coming up to turn 12, which is a no passing corner, period. It's a high speed kink. I had been doing 70 consistently on that corner. This guy comes out. I see him in my peripheral, and he freaked me out because he was way off the racing line. He was way on the inside. And the 2 guys are in front of me. The guy in front of me, my mind already calculated because, your eyes, your brain do that geometry.
Right.
Right. I could tell they were on a collision course. And you can see in the video that I have, as soon as I see him in my peripheral, my RPM goes way down because I let off the throttle. My instincts told me this isn't right. Right. Before my intelligence did.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Your survival instinct took over.
And sure enough, and it happened like in slow motion, like everybody always says with accidents, the 2 of them just went and collided right at the apex of turn 12. And unfortunately, the one guy went down hard on the tarmac.
Yeah, the bike like flipped over him and everything.
The bike flipped. He went flipping. The other guy didn't.
He didn't even fall.
Didn't fall.
He got a little stutter and he just kept going. Yeah.
Exactly. And
he was the one that was in the wrong, right? The guy that stayed up was the one that hit the other guy. Yeah.
You're no passing in 12.
Yeah.
No passing in 12. So
and he was on the inside though too. So it was both, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
A double whammy. My first instinct, Brian, was stop and help the guy that just crashed.
Yeah.
There was this overwhelming feeling of stop. This dude just took a tumble. Right in front of me. I need to stop and help him.
Right.
So,
yeah, your instinct was to stop and help.
I just wanted to stop and help. It was this overwhelming feeling of just stop.
Right.
But they told us in class that no matter what, you have to get off the track. That's the number one priority. Get off the track because, and this is something that, I experienced in being a race fan, watching on TV and in person. So even though this is a grassroots track day event, they still have safety procedures that they need to follow. And the safety procedure is everybody has to get off track because it's called a hot track. That means people are going around at speed. You need to get off the track so that the ambulance can come out. Okay? So the faster you get off the track, the better it is for the person that crashed.
So they have an ambulance on standby?
They do.
That's good.
With an EMT, yeah. So if you're wondering about all the high costs of these things.
Yeah, because they have the guy that he's getting paid whether he does anything or not.
They're sitting there all day.
Yeah.
And corner workers all day long. Right. So each corner worker around the track drives their car to the corner.
Yeah.
They're there all day long at that corner. And then you've got the flag stand track worker, and then you've got the track controller, and all these employees.
There's a lot of people there. Yes.
So I remembered my training, and I got off the track. I went right up to the flag track controller, and I said, "I got that. That happened right in front of me. I got it on my GoPro." And he said, "Okay, park your bike and come see me." So I did that. I get over there, I get the GoPro, and I'm finding the video, and it's like, here it is. And everybody's like, all the track employees are all like gathered around.
A little 2-inch screen.
A little 2-inch screen. I was like, you see it? And they're all like, but it was enough that they could tell. They're like, oh, yeah. As soon as they saw it, that was it. The dude was gone. So it was dramatic. And luckily, I want to say that the guy was okay.
Yeah.
My sister was actually at the fence taking pictures at that corner.
Right.
So she got a small video of him. She was following me around the track. So she missed the accident, but she got the aftermath. So she's got him tumbling in the video. I'll put that up. But she's also got some still photos of him afterwards. So the scary part was he was knocked out for 2 minutes, a full 2 minutes. And my sister was standing there at the fence, and she was just like, it felt like forever.
Yeah.
It felt like forever because she's sitting there like, where's the help? Where's the help? The dude is laying on his back motionless.
Yeah, you don't know. Is he dead?
Yeah. For 2 minutes, he didn't move an arm. He didn't move a leg. He didn't move his head. And I'm assuming he probably got knocked out.
Yeah, probably concussion. Yeah.
When you see the video, he smacks the ground hard on the concrete, and then tumbles. So finally, the ambulance comes because they're waiting for all the bikes to get off the track.
Right.
So it's not their fault; it's procedure. But a couple of minutes later, he shakes it off. He's standing up. He's fine. He's bruised up. He's complaining about some sore spots here and there, but
I'm sure he's feeling it today.
Yeah. So that shook me.
Yeah.
Because it happened right in front of me. All those other red flags that happened the previous day,
Right.
I didn't see. So I don't mean to sound callous, but
Yeah, as soon as you see it, then it's real. Yeah.
yeah. And especially something of that severity. Like that wasn't just somebody low siding and sliding off.
All right.
That was a 2-bike crash where somebody really,
Well, that happened to a friend of ours on a ride where he passed a truck. He was leading a group ride, and another guy that wasn't with them in their group also passed and came in and just hit him on the side, and he woke up in the hospital, and the other guy was dead. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. Like, he was really lucky. I think he broke his arm or something, but
oh no, that's tragic.
Yeah,
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I don't want to put him on air here, but yeah, I mean, like it was crazy because I used to ride with that guy all the time, and the fact that it just randomly happened to him, like some guy that wasn't in their group aggressively passed and then just came in and hit him full on the side, and like doesn't remember any of it,
Oh man, that's tough. Yeah. So
yeah, but then when you hear about that, especially if it's somebody then it does make it more real.
Yeah. So that kind of shook me for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I wasn't the same.
Yeah.
I kept going back out on the, at my sessions, and I was way slower than I was.
Right.
It was just this mental hang up I had. I was just too timid.
Yeah.
And I finally got to the point at the end. I told my sister, I was like, I think let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Let's get going.
Yeah, I mean, you probably had a huge adrenaline dump when you saw that, and that also just exhausts you. Like anytime anything traumatic happens, like, it's not directly to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just kind of frees your nerves,
But I learned a lot. It was a great experience. But there's a lot of variance too. Kind of like how Brandon was saying, like he does track days with clubs.
Right.
And I was talking to the instructor, and he's like, this is a great track for get a group of your buddies together and all pitch in. You got your own private track day.
Well, that's what Ducati
you can do whatever
does.
you want.
Yeah, Ducati was there. I was like, are they there the same time as you? Because they had
Tuesday. They were there Tuesday.
Okay, yeah, because they were posting like, oh, we got a private track day at Jennings. Yeah,
and I think they only take like 10 people or so, 8 or 10 people. It'd be a blast.
Yeah, that would be definitely a different experience with that few people.
Yeah. And I've never been on those, with the Ducati group, but I'm assuming if you do a private group like that, they're more flexible in your riding. So one aspect that like the open track day that the instructors really drive home is don't be an obstacle, because if you're an obstacle, you're a danger to yourself and a danger to others. Because if you're out there just putting around,
Right.
somebody's going to come up on you, fly right into you.
Yeah.
So you have to maintain speed.
Yeah, it's also, I guess, getting used to not having your mirrors, right?
Oh my God, that's weird.
Yeah, because I rely on my mirrors quite heavily, and I was thinking about that when we were talking about taking the mirrors off, and I'm like,
It is
because the
so
people that show
weird.
up next to you, like you didn't see them coming at all, right?
And you know what they tell you? Don't look back.
Yeah, because
They'll yell at you if you're on the straightaway and you're doing one of these things.
I mean, because I've just been on group rides where a guy would just come flying around you and scare the crap out of you, and you've got mirrors.
Yeah.
I can't imagine if you're on that and you're focused so hard on the curve coming up, and then all of a sudden the guy faster than you comes along. Yeah,
And that's why they say with new riders, it freaks you out because
Yeah.
you're not expecting it, and all of a sudden this, But yeah, don't look back. And the reason you don't look back is because then you're taking your eyes off the line.
no, yeah, you're gonna follow your head. Yeah,
And because it's a racetrack and the way it's designed, you're going a lot faster than what you do on the street, but it doesn't feel like it.
right.
It wasn't until I got home I started looking at my GoPro footage and looking at the corners where I'm going 80 miles an hour, leaned over as far as I've ever leaned
Yeah.
that bike. I'm like, wow, that's
Yeah,
it's a different animal.
right.
So yeah, safety really does come into play. So my expectation there was it's a lot more intense and faster than I
So now
imagined.
I'm imagining, Sean, like in the future, like maybe like this Saturday if we go for that ride, you're gonna show up in your full leathers now, and you're gonna be ready to go.
I can totally.
You're going to be that guy that comes out to the Saturday rides in the full leather, and you got the boots on up to your.
Well,
Up to,
the gear is an investment. I had to buy a tracksuit because I didn't own one.
yeah, no, it was a badass looking suit too.
I liked it.
Yeah,
it was very comfortable.
Like a speeder bike rider from Star Wars.
And it matches my helmet. And,
Yeah, no, yeah, it was like a perfect outfit.
It was
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
So I got to get some mileage out of it. Right?
yeah. So I'm thinking in my head, like between the suit and the class and the open day and the truck rental and all the gear, you might have spent more on that than I did on my 20-day trip.
I'm not going to tell you on camera, but I'll tell you off camera.
Yeah, I know. I was running it all in my head when you were telling this story. I was like, wow, because I sent you guys a text about the trip. I went through my credit card bill, and I think between gas and hotel, I only spent like $1,600 or something, which is pretty. That's pretty cheap for 20 days. Now, obviously, I had a big wad of cash that I use for food and stickers and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just for gas, I think $500 or $600 was gas, which isn't really bad for
All the way across
almost 8,000 miles. Yeah,
across the country and all the way back again.
Yeah.
I did a spreadsheet with all my expenses because half of my expenses, I don't know if it was exactly half, but there was a lot of startup costs.
Yeah, so now you're in. So like,
now
you're not
I
gonna buy the
own-
suit every time.
right.
You can buy the shoes and all the gloves.
And there's more affordable ways to get your bike there.
Yeah.
So, I splurged on the van.
right.
You can get a motorcycle trailer for $15 a day from U-Haul.
Exactly.
So there's ways I could camp instead of doing hotels.
right.
I have to shout out to Sam, who was the guy on the other side of me who I made friends with. He was the one that followed me into the grass
Okay.
on his Kawasaki Ninja. He slept in his truck.
Oh wow.
And I think just shout out to Sam because that's like the hardcore way to do it, man.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I was like, are you camping? You staying at a hotel? He's like, no, I'm sleeping in my truck. I was like, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it, except for just. I guess it probably wouldn't be too bad if the temperatures, like you said, in the 70s or whatever. You could just crack the window a little because you don't want to let the maybe did you have a screen or something you could put over the window or?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because if you open the window, then you're going to get the mosquitoes in. But if you keep it closed, it's going to be stale in there. Yeah.
There are a few camping guys, a few group of friends. Like there was a group of advanced riders, serious dudes and super fast. I have some video that I'll share at some point where I'm on trackside at the fence recording these advanced riders going around. they're like a blur.
Yeah.
They're so fast. It's amazing. But they had like the whole grill out there. They're grilling stuff just like Brandon said, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's out there cooking and doing their thing, and yeah, it's cool. It's a community.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing.
Well, maybe I'll come with you next time and just be support.
My sister had a good time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me that really wants to do it, and then the other part of me is like, man, if I lay my bike down, I'll never, So my friend Peter, I think you may have met him. He's got a couple of Ducatis, but he's the one that races the cars over at the Moto Enclave there in Tampa. He used to do a lot of track days and stuff, and I think he low sided or crashed 2 or 3 different times, and that's when he just said, I'm gonna go to start racing cars.
I don't want to crash
because he's one of those people. He does everything as fast as he can. So like if he was out there, he was probably in the A group going as fast as he could go, and and just pushing the limit every time. He's got that Audi with the extra.
Right.
Yeah, I mean he's got a lot of money in that car, and I mean obviously if you go to that place, you've got a lot of money invested. But
shout out to Greg, whom I met out there. Greg was an older gentleman.
Yeah.
Who has a BMW RT9. Who he says he's been tracking that bike. He's got
that's a weird bike to track because it's got that huge engine sticking out the sides.
He was so fast on that bike. So fast and so smooth. And he told me, yeah, come follow me around. I'll show you my line. And I couldn't keep up with him. He lost me. I kept up with him like 3/4 of the lap. And then...
That's how I felt following that kid on the 10-speed when I was going. I couldn't catch up with him. I was like, what the hell? He's on a bicycle. Yeah.
But technique is everything.
That's what they say. Like a rider with good technique on a Ninja 400 is going to outride anybody on a overpowered bike. Because Jose and I were talking, and he sent me a thing about the new R9, the new Yamaha. It basically got the same engine as our bikes. And I was like, it's pretty powerful for a novice track rider. And he goes, it's only 119 horsepower. I'm like, most novice guys go out on like a Ninja 400 or the Duke 390, because then you can have fun. You can push the bike to the limit without worrying about killing yourself.
Right.
Like 120 horsepower is a lot of horsepower for somebody that doesn't have experience on the track, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you don't have to use it all, but it's there,
Yeah. I think to me, I mean,
you're used to your bike, so that's.
I'm used to and I was just going to say that. To me, it depends on your skill set, like where you are with your familiarity of your bike. So I know, I was just so in tune with how my bike rode.
Right.
There was by contrast, there was a classmate that I had on Thursday who was on an MT10.
Yeah.
And those MT10s are like what?
160 horsepower.
Yeah,
they're crazy.
He was one of the slowest guys in the class.
That's what I'm saying.
No offense, dude, if you're watching.
Yeah.
But maybe it was too much bike for him at the track.
Yeah. No, because it could be scary to come around because you punch that thing and the wheel's going to come off the track and
So I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
I'm already looking at dates. I wouldn't even mind doing the novice class again because
there was that guy we met at Tampa Joe's at bike night. Do you remember that guy? He had that training bike out there. Sam posted it. Yeah,
they had one of those training bikes in class.
Yeah,
too.
so he teaches a class at Jennings, because he was going to be there like either the week before or week after you. But he's got another one coming up. I think he said in.
His name wasn't Borg, was it? Did you meet the guy?
I met him that night. We talked for quite a while, actually.
Did he have a slight accent? Do you remember?
I don't think so, but he was telling me because he has his own school that they teach out there. And anyway, we could probably look into that because we weren't going to make this one, obviously. The one because he was like I said, it was the week before or week after you're doing it. So,
oh, okay.
But there was another one he had coming up that because he takes limited. He doesn't have like a huge class. I think he takes like 20 bikes at the most or whatever. So we could look into that one.
But I saved this for last because maybe this might inspire you a little bit.
Okay.
The school that I went to, on Friday had, like I said, had 3 instructors.
Yeah.
The 2 instructors rode track-specific bikes, and what that means is they're not street legal. They're
right. They don't have tags or whatever. Yeah.
No tech, no headlight.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
modified engines to get more power and stuff. They're track bikes,
Right.
track only bikes. The third instructor was on a brand new GS 1200 or whatever it is, 1290
Yeah.
trophy,
Okay.
and he was as fast as anybody.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me. The guy I was talking to Tampa Joe's, he was saying that one of his instructors rides a Tracer 9 just like mine. Yeah. He's like, yeah, you'll feel right at home following him. He's got the same exact bike as you.
It's all about smoothness and
Yeah.
knowing the line.
Right.
So yeah, you can do it if you want to.
We'll think about it.
I don't want to
When we
crash
get off,
mine
when we get
either.
off the air, I want to hear the prices. This is how much of an investment it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
I
economical
still
ways
got to
of doing
recover
it.
from the 3 weeks of work I missed.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe spring of next year.
Yeah.
I'm looking at dates in March.
Right.
Right. So,
All right.
all right. Well, thanks for letting me.
Yeah, no, it was very interesting. Like I said, I had a ton of questions, and you pretty much answered them all.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
I'll post some videos up of some of my highlights that I thought were worth seeing. I think I will post that crash video just because the guy was okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd feel right if he really got hurt. So
Right.
without his permission, of course, and I didn't get his contact info. But
Right.
since he was up and walking, I think it's
Yeah, no, it's. I
It'll
think
be
it's
cool.
okay. Yeah, I mean, it's your video. It's not like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like he died.
No,
That would be
thankfully,
thankfully.
that would have made a horrible first day.
So
All right.
Yep.
Well,
all right, Brian.
there's another one in the books. We'll see you guys next week.
And hey, we're back in the swing of things now.
Yeah.
So you're back from your trip. I finished the track day. Now we're getting into got to get some of these.
Yeah, we're getting into riding season. We're working on our mural event.
We got lists, a list a mile long of things to do. So
Yeah, Bobby just posted a meetup for our monthly meetup over at Grand Cathedral. So
back in the swing of things.
back in the swing of things. Yeah,
Cool
It's
deal.
not quite so hot outside as it usually is.
Yeah. It's awesome.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends about us if you had a good time. If you didn't have a good time, tell them anyway. Maybe they'll like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you leave negative comments, we'll read them on air. sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Especially if they're about Sean.
We got a few of them recently, and I
Did
was
we?
like, yeah,
Oh, I didn't know.
I'll tell you about them.
Okay.
I told them we'd read them on air.
All right.
On air, like we're on a radio show.
Yeah, right. Dang it. All right. Well,
Cool. We've been talking a long time.
yeah, go ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Go out on a track and ride a motorcycle. Yeah.
Ride fast, don't die.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool. See ya.